And coming up this evening on the bulletin, parts of Accra flooded again after downpour, but the Ghana Meteorological Agency is urging residents in the southern sector to expect more rains.
We are heading towards the close of the major rainy season for 2024. And then also, if our structures are weak, this is the time that we should check them to call in the experts or the contractors to get them fixed, especially our buildings.
We'll have a conversation with the Ghana Meteorological Agency on this particular one. Clocksack boycotts meeting with National Labour Commission Finance Ministry over their strike, which left scores stranded on various government agencies.
We hereby declare a nationwide strike with effect from Wednesday, 3rd July 2024. All staff of the civil service and the local government service should stay away from work until further notice.
Guinness World Record sets record straight say they were not aware of Chef Smith's cookathon attempt after earlier revelations the chef's claim of setting a new record was fake.
Incredibly humbled and honored to stand before you today as the Guinness World Record holder. Cooking for 802 hours, 25 seconds.
Speaker of Ghana's Parliament warns phenomenon of suits being filed against Parliament before bills are passed will render the legislature useless, declaring no court can stop the House from passing the bill.
Enabling legislation takes care of all these challenges until it is a law. It is assented to by the president. Judiciary has no jurisdiction to try to pry into it. This is notice. We have to take this seriously, or else our legislative authority is being taken away from us.
Meanwhile, the Supreme Court has set July 17 to deliver rulings on two applications filed by broadcast journalist Richard Delasky and researcher Dr. Amanda Odwe seeking to inject Parliament from transmitting the anti-LGBTQ plus bill to the President for assent. And later, we'll tell you the story of 27-year-old physically challenged man who is defying dangerous roads in Kumasi, hawking on a wheelchair to fund his education and upkeep. Stay with us because we've got details of these and more coming up shortly.
Starr News is coming to you live on Ultimate 106.9 FM in Kumasi, Empire 102.7 FM in Takrady, Cool 103.5 FM in Ho, Ridge and Might FM in Tamale, Somali FM in Wa, My Star Radio in the USA. Also live on Facebook on Starr 103.5 FM and on starfm.com.gh around the world. This is Starr 103.5 FM.
Grateful for your company this evening and welcome aboard Ghana's most comprehensive news analysis program Starr today here on Starr 103.5 FM. I am Joshua Kodjo Mensah, and as always we are live on social media, particularly Facebook, so kindly join us on Facebook /Starr 103.5 FM and be a part of the conversation this evening. I know it's been a rainy day from dawn till now, and in some parts of the country we are still experiencing some rains, especially along the coast and in the southern part of the country. So let me know exactly what the situation has been in your area. How has the rain affected you today? Let me know. The WhatsApp number to also send that to is 0552 880 216 0552 880 216. Let's get into the details of our stories this evening. And some areas in Accra got flooded again today after a heavy rainfall. Now, the downpour for over 5 hours obstructed the flow of vehicular traffic on the Kaneshi to Malam stretch of the Kaswa Highway, the Central Business District, and Odona, Adabraka, among other areas. Many commuters parked their vehicles for the rain to subside. Others also carefully drove through the flood, which covered most parts of the road. Now, the Ghana Meteorological Agency is urging residents in the southern sector and those living in flood-prone areas to ensure structural integrity of buildings. Let's get to the phone lines now and speak to Head of Central Analysis and Forecast at the Ghana Meteorological Agency, Felicity Ahafianyo. Felicity, good evening. Thank you so much for your time.
Good evening. Thank you too for reaching out to us.
I hope you're doing very well.
by the grace, I am better today than yesterday.
We give God the glory. So, I went on your X page this before coming on air, and I realized that indeed you predicted that we're going to have this kind of weather today. But really, is it exactly what you thought it would be?
Yes, that is what we saw on Monday, even up to yesterday. That is what we saw that will happen today. More activities, more rain over the entire country.
So, with what we have experienced today, I mean, from dawn, and it made some of my colleagues even come to work late today because it kept raining throughout till around 2 p.m. when it decided to calm down. What should we expect going forward?
Yes, for the going forward, in terms of the rainy season, the southern sector is gradually exiting the rainy season. But then we expect moist winds to invade the country, influx of moisture from the Atlantic Ocean as a result of the intensification of the pressure system over the ocean. So we expect it to be more of cloudiness and light rain or drizzle in the mornings and in the evening. We expect it to be a bit chilly. Temperatures will be a bit cold for us, where we need to protect ourselves with cardigans or pullovers and the rest. Then once a while, we do have this sort of a system affecting the entire country that will produce moderate rain over places. For the northern sector, they are into their major season. This just one rainy season. They are heading towards their peak. They just started the season. So we expect them to have a frequent rains with thunderstorms from now till the end of October. And we expect them to have lightning. We expect them to also experience moderate to strong windy conditions. In terms of temperatures too, they will also experience mild temperatures for both the minimum and the maximum. It's not every day that they are going to experience the rains and the thunderclouds. That is why the Central Analysis and the Forecasting Office, we are operating 24/7 watch duty. We'll keep updating them based on that, and then they can also get themselves ready.
Now, quite interestingly, you mentioned that the southern sector, we seem to be exiting the rainy season and all of that. So for people in this sector, in terms of their buildings and all of that, what should we be doing in times like this, now that at least we're still experiencing the rains?
Yes, because we still expect 1 or 2 heavy rains for July. So because of that, those of us that is around the flood prone areas, we still need to make way for the runoff waters so that when it happens like this, the runoff waters can find their way quickly to their destination. And then also, because we have some of our structures that are a bit old, we need to keep checking it and keep the experts in so that they check it if there is a need to carry out some renovational work. They do that. Especially the school children, our educational system, the buildings, the school management should come in to see so that we don't have situations whereby buildings collapse on children or students or even the teaching and non-teaching staff. This is the time that we should do something about it for the entire country. For those of us that we don't know anything about the weather, we don't care, I think we should recondition our minds so that we get the forecast from the Ghana Meteorological Agency. We can get it on our social media platforms. We have it on X, we have it on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Everywhere you have it. And I'm glad that Starr FM, we are also reaching out to us. But we will be glad if every morning you can get the forecast across to your viewers so that they can also get themselves ready.
Thank you so much, Felicity, and we'll be looking forward to it. And I've even set a notification. So once you tweet, I'll definitely get the notification, and we'll make sure that we also share the word. But thank you so much for your time this evening.
Thank you.
Right, so that's Felicity Ahafianyo. She is the head of Central Analysis and Forecast at the Ghana Meteorological Agency. So what you're seeing on your screens now on Facebook, it's what happened today in some areas, especially on the Odoko stretch from Odoko to Kandeshi First Light area. That's how deep it was. Cars almost submerged in the running waters as a result of the continuous rainfall in those areas. And that's what you're seeing on your Facebook live stream. I'd like to also hear from you exactly how the rain affected you. I mean, for someone like Prince Asian, who is producing today, he didn't come to work early because of the rain. He said, yes, he was stuck. In fact, he said his room got flooded, which we all know is a lie. But yes, that is what happened in some people's areas. The places flooded, and so they were unable to get to their routines and be able to do the things that they usually do on time. Now, let's move away from that because there is more to talk about on the bulletin. Remember to join us via Facebook. We are streaming live at facebook.com/Starr 103.5 FM, and we are also live there, so you can join us with your thoughts, your comments, your views and contributions. Now let's get to some other stories. And yesterday I gave a warning. Yes, I did indicate that if you are going to deal with the civil service today, perhaps you would have to stay home, because if you do go, you would meet empty offices. Some of you defied my warning, and this is what happened to you. Now, the Civil and Local Government Staff Association, CLOGSAG, today boycotted a scheduled meeting with the National Labour Commission, the Finance Ministry and Fair Wages and Salaries Commission over their strike, leaving scores stranded at various government agencies. Now, CLOGSAG today began an industrial action over what they describe as government's failure to implement a new salary structure, which was agreed upon in 2021. Calvin Power Ahlija comes through with the following report.
Strike is significantly affecting government operations, as most offices visited earlier have been deserted by members of the association. The members who did not show up for work subsequently failed to appear for a meeting called by the National Labour Commission on Wednesday. Following a lengthy wait of nearly an hour without any representatives from CLOGSAG present, the meeting was adjourned to a later date.
Yes, meeting was scheduled today at 2 p.m. between CLOGSAG, ministries, and other stakeholders. Yes, CLOGSAG couldn't turn up for that meeting, so we've waited for next week, Wednesday, same time, for us to gather here. That is why we have to gather here and have it discussed. Yes. Well, it's a meeting that we have to address their concerns with. So this is not the first time that we are meeting on that issue. I think an MOU was signed somewhere last 2 years back then. So we need to meet on the round table and have the issues addressed. So they have a concern. Otherwise, we wouldn't have appended our signature on the MOU.
The Executive Secretary of the National Labour Commission characterized the absence of the Civil and Local Government Staff Association, Ghana, CLOGSAG, as contemptuous to the Commission, implying a deliberate disregard for its authority.
It's an unfortunate development, and I think that is contemptuous of the Commission. They were the first to write to us that certain agreements or understanding reached between themselves and government, led by the senior presidential advisor, Honorable Safumafu, and with the Ministry of Employment, Labour Relations, Ministry of Finance, have not been implemented. Then that is to do with the new salary structure they are asking for. And that having agreed on something as far back as 2022, to begin in 2023, and now we are in the middle of 2024. If nothing was done, they were going to proceed on strike.
Sure. Attempts to contact CLOGSAG to determine the reason behind their absence have been unsuccessful. However, a new meeting date has been scheduled for Wednesday, July 10th, 2024.
So that's Calvin's report. That meeting was supposed to hold today. CLOGSAG decided not to go for the meeting. And I'm not surprised, because yesterday when Isaac Bampoado, the executive secretary for CLOGSAG, addressed the media, one of the things he said was that, well, if they wake up today, that will determine whether or not they will be able to go for that meeting. So I'm not surprised they were not there at that meeting and have embarked on their strike. So most of you who visited various government agencies, the Registrar General's Department, Head of Civil Service. You had stuff to do at the ministries and all of that. Nothing was happening. Calvin is here with me in studio. He was on the beats, checking exactly the impact of the strike. So, Calvin, you were out there. What did you see?
I mean, it's a pathetic sight for anyone who has business to be attended to at the ministry to encounter. I've been to virtually all the ministries at the enclave over there, and I can attest to the fact that government operations has come to a total halt. All the offices are virtually empty. Some are locked under key, and it's only security personnel that you meet at the entrances, and they would advise you that the offices are empty. So even if you enter, you wouldn't find anyone. So I'm a journalist. I want to see for myself. So I entered some of the offices, and there was no one. The only thing that you can say is this red calico hanging around all the offices and empty chairs and desks all around.
Wow. So, and were there people at the ministries and all of that who had come also to seek some services done?
I met a couple of vehicles coming around, and the moment they get to the parking lot and find out that the place is virtually empty and looking at the offices being locked and the key, they turn around and move out. That's the situation. And we call on stakeholders to actually work out quickly to resolve this issue, because it's not a good thing. If they should prolong, I mean, it will impact government business and that of private people who rely on government operations.
I mean, if you have to register your business, for instance, you would have to wait, because if you go, there's nobody there to attend to you. But you were at the meeting that was supposed to take place between the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, the National Labour Commission, ClockSAG members, and the Finance Ministry. And from the report, ClockSAG did not show up.
Yeah, exactly so. The meeting was scheduled to take place at 2 p.m. exactly at the Labour Commission's offices right here at the Reach. But I got there at 1 just to make sure I was there early enough to see all the parties that will be present. So I saw the Ministry of Finance officials, the Ministry of Labour and Employment, NLC themselves. They are the hosts, so they've been there. The Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, I saw officials from there also coming in. We waited from 2 p.m. up to 3, and there was no sign of any ClockSAG member, not even a single member showed up. So when they went for the meeting, they decided that, okay, the people that this whole strike centered around are not around. They are not here. So any deliberations will be a fruitless venture. So they decided to adjourn the date, and they are to re-meet on Wednesday, 10th July 2024. And a comment made by the Executive Secretary, that is Mr. Ofosu Asamoah, indicates that even that Wednesday, it will be difficult to tell if ClockSAG will turn up.
Right.
Because they are only calling that government should implement the new salary structure that they've all agreed on in 2022. So there's nothing to actually talk about. You have agreed on these issues, and it's left with you to just go ahead and implement
just
them.
The implementation.
So what talks do we have again? So we are just hoping that maybe they'll rescind their decision and come around the table for this issue to be resolved.
Right. Calvin, thank you so much for giving us the update there. Calvin Powell Ahlija, he's the man who has been on this beat since morning, and he's been touring some government agencies, the ministries, and clearly no work, zero work, zilch, because they have decided to embark on that strike till government implements the proposed salaries. If the salaries are not adjusted, forget it. They are not coming to work. That's what they're saying. We've been trying to put calls through to ClockSAG to get to understand exactly what the way forward is. Unfortunately, all calls to the phones of the executives have proven futile. None of them answering the calls, and that's where we have arrived at currently. But as and when the situation changes, we'll definitely bring you more. This is Starr today on Starr 103.5 FM. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Starr Today. First, fast, and credible.
Well, you're still listening to Starr Today here on Starr 103.5 FM. And let's do some stories from Parliament, because the Speaker of the House, Alban Sumana Kingsford Bagman, has warned the recent phenomenon of citizens filing suit against passage of bills or the work of Parliament will render the legislative arm of government useless. Now, Richard Sky and Amanda Odwe are other Supreme Court seeking to injunct Parliament from transmitting the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill to President Akufo-Addo. A citizen has also filed a suit at the Apex Court against a petition to Parliament to probe the Cecilia Dapar cash saga. Now, speaking during a debate on the propriety of the laying of the Standards Authority pricing of cement regulation, the speaker related to the possibility of someone heading to court over the LI as warned by Tamale South MP Haruna Idrisu to declare no court has the authority to stop Parliament from doing its work. The former Nadoli Kaleo MP, however, stated after the legislative processes are over, the courts can come in. Alban Bagbin revealed he's been inundated with suits seeking to stop Parliament from undertaking its legitimate duties. Though the Speaker said his comments are without prejudice to the ongoing Supreme Court hearings, he urged MPs to pay serious attention to the development lest they lose their relevance.
Fact that it will stand. It will fall. It will fall. One, the issue you raised, if anybody is minded to take it up, it is the enabling act that the person can take up to court. That enabling act. As to the draft subsidiary legislation or delegated legislation that is purported to have been issued or made by whatever authority, is not known in law until it is processed and passed by this House. The challenge we have is the Article 11, and that is what I stated earlier on, because we have mixed the concept in our Constitution. The concept of the representation of the Member of Parliament. When you want the Member of Parliament to be focused on plenary sessions, you don't want the same Member of Parliament to be at the constituency all the time, so he can focus on that. And that's why I used to refer to you people to look at the mandate of the MP. If the MP is always expected to be at the constituency all the time, he cannot be on the floor. So when you are looking for a percentage of the presence of MPs in the House, and you put it at 2/3, it means you are saying that the MPs should not be at the constituency. Or when you put a provision in the Constitution, and members should be guided by this. When you say that a member cannot absent himself continuously without the permission of the Speaker for 15 days, in other words, you are saying the member should be focused on the plenary session. Meanwhile, in practice, the constituents expect the members to be present in the constituency on a daily basis. And so the two cannot work together. So the percentage of 2/3 is so high that it cannot be met. In fact, in practical terms, it's not only the constituency. We know the number of times that MPs are called outside even the jurisdiction of this House, or even in the oversight responsibility of this House. Members are constantly in other areas inquiring into activities of ministries and departments to report to the House. So they cannot be on the floor of the House at the same time. And so anytime you try to get this, before we started the Bagwis doctrine, it was because of this. I had to mobilize as the chairman of the subsidiary legislation to get a large numbers of members on the floor to support me to annul that instrument. That instrument also came from the same Ministry of Trade and Industry. And the members were present, and I differed from the position of the committee, which I chaired, and assigned the report. But on the floor, I sought the permission of the then Speaker, Right Honorable Daniel Francis Annan, to disagree with what the committee has stated, which he permitted. And I managed to convince the House that That instrument has no legal basis. And the House agreed, and we annulled it. And that raised a problem in government. At least there were some reprisals. And I myself was seen differently. For anybody, including the courts, to consider. Because the Constitution and the enabling legislation takes care of all these challenges until, if it's a law, it is assented to by the President. Judiciary has no jurisdiction to try to pry into it. This is notice. We have to take this seriously, or else our legislative authority is being taken away from us by other agencies and arms of government. That should be resisted by this House, or else your being here is of no consequence. The law is very clear on this. And so until a bill is assented to by the President, nobody has any business to take that process that is being considered by the House to the court. And I don't want to preempt the judgment of the Supreme Court in this matter. But I'm giving notice because on daily basis, I'm being served with writs as a party on matters that are being considered by the House. That's why I'm compelled to say this thing. And so please, I know that the former minority leader just say he will exploit, but he will not proceed to do so. I know that.
So you had the Speaker of Ghana's Parliament, Alban Sumana Kingsford Bagbin there. Now talking about the Supreme Court and matters happening, we know that the Apex Court has fixed July 17, 2024 to deliver its rulings on two applications filed by broadcast journalist Richard Delasky and researcher Dr. Amanda Odwe, seeking to injunct Parliament from transmitting the family value bills, the anti-LGBTQ plus bill to the President for its assent. Now, this was after the panel of five, presided over by Chief Justice Gertrude Saki Tokuno, the Chief Justice, heard arguments from all parties in a televised court proceedings. Lawyer for Dr. Amanda Odwe, led by Ernest Ako, while relying on processes filed, said both the Speaker and the Clerk to Parliament should be restrained by the Apex Court until after the determination of the substantive matter. Mutala Inusa is our legal affairs correspondent. He was in court and he has joined me on the telephone lines now. So Mutala, quite an interesting day seeing all that happened in court on TV, but walk us through exactly how it all went down.
Well, just like you rightly watched from the screen, exactly how it pans out today. The Apex Court had the opportunity to welcome submissions from the two plaintiffs in the matter. The first one was in relation to the application filed by Dr. Amanda Odwe's lawyers. And what they were seeking was a straightforward thing. They are asking the Apex Court to injunct Parliament from the Speaker, and in fact the Clerk to Parliament, from transmitting that particular bill that has been passed as far back as in February to the Presidency. And what they are saying is that if you look at the bill as it is now, if you look at the content of it and the way informing which it was passed, if something like that was to happen, the President, it has to come or be referred to Parliament by the President to be able to have Parliament go through. If you look at Article 108 and 8 provisions there, the previous reference to that. And in fact, what they were telling the Apex Court is that that particular processes for which Parliament arrived in passing the bill cannot be accepted as per the tenets in the Constitution. Now, the Attorney General, who is the second respondent, also seemed not to have a position on the matter, i.e. to say that the Attorney General is opposing or not opposing to the interlocutory injunction that was filed. What he said was that, look, what the panel of five ought to look at is whether, looking at that particular provision, if there's any issue of law that the court will have to address, the court should look at that and then take a decision on the matter. Then the lawyer for the Speaker of Parliament lawyer Kodjo Mensah opposed to the request for the interlocutory injunction. His contention was that if we look at that provision that the applicant referred to 108 and 8 necessary provisions, there's nothing that shows that even the bill as it is not complete, it's not final. When it goes to the president has issues with it, and he wants the parliament to do something, there's always that room for that particular bill to be brought back to parliament. So it is not cast in iron stone. So whatever the applicant is seeking, it is one that whatever the processes itself can help resolve. So the court to look at those things and then reject or refuse the request for an interlocutory injunction. Then that particular leg of the case about involving Dr. Amanda, the panel of 5 chaired by the Chief Justice and Joshua, other members of the panel, Justice Mariama Owusu was part of the panel, Justice Professor Henrietta Mensah was also part of the panel, then Justice N.S. Gao and Justice Yao Dahu Asari. So these are the 5 justices who presided over the matter. They retired briefly and came with the point that they will adjourn this particular ruling of Amanda Odor to the 17th of July. Then they proceeded to welcome submissions also from lawyers of, in fact, the Richard Sky's case was the second one that was called. And in fact, Joshua, if you look at the 2 applications as they are, both of them seeking the same thing, interlocutory injunction, Parliament from transmitting the bill. Lawyer for Richard Sky had the opportunity to make submissions, even though some of the submissions were made earlier to what has happened. He said that the physical impact, the impact assessment was not done by Parliament to be able to fully abreast itself with processes to be able to pass a bill of that nature. However, in the context of things, the argument of things, lawyer for the speaker said that initially some information has come to its attention which has to do with this particular physical impact assessment that we are talking about, and he was seeking leave of the court to be able to file that so that the court will look at its content and then look at it so that when the court is making a determination on the interlocutory injunction, the court can also consider the content of it. But the Chief Justice indicated that it has come too late for the panel to make reference, even though it granted the opportunity to file, to look at it and make it useful in relation to the interlocutory injunction. At best, what the court can do is that he can file that and they will consider it during the substantive matter before the apex court. So in totality of things, an argument that were advanced, both parties in relation to the Richard Sky case and Dr. Amanda's case, both of them were adjourned to July 17. And on July 17, the Chief Justice indicated clearly that 2 separate rulings will be delivered. However, it is clear that one of the rulings, that the first ruling that they will deliver, which of course will be the one in relation to Dr. Amanda Odor's case, references will be made in relation to Richard Sky's one. So some of the things that they will say, they will ask Richard Sky to also refer to Dr. Amanda's decision for some of the things that they want to know. So in effect, the Supreme Court today had argument in relation to the interlocutory injunctions, the motions that the 2 applicants in their separate actions were seeking to have a parliament restrained from transmitting the bill that was passed as far back as in February to the president for it to stand, because they felt that processes within or provisions within the 1990 Constitution have not been met.
All I told myself was, God bless the Chief Justice, when she took the position that this matter has been pending for over a year. And if indeed that controversial report, or that report which has remained the bane of controversy in court, was with them, why do you wait after arguments? Why do you wait after all has been said and done before you come out to say that such a bill existed? What were the researchers of Parliament doing, and what were his own researchers doing? So to the Chief Justice, this will not be factored in the ruling of the court, but it can be factored into the final determination of the rate. And I think she was perfectly
in any case, by procedure, you need to come to court for
properly.
leave.
You don't go by this.
To court for leave,
You have to seek leave
to file a
before
supplementary
you
affidavit.
file a supplementary explanatory affidavit and attach an exhibit. You don't just get up after the hearing of argument to say that I have something to tell the court, because right afterwards somebody called me to show it to me.
Right, so you had the lawyer for Richard Delasky in that particular matter. This is Starr today here on Starr 103.5 FM. When we return, we'll be talking about what is happening in terms of Chef Smith and the cooking that has happened in the country. We'll be back shortly.
Starr today, first, fast, and credible.
Now, the twists and turns that have greeted Ghanaian chef Ebenezer Smith's Guinness World Record attempt at the longest individual cookathon seems unending, as the record organizers, after declaring the widely circulated certificate of Chef Smith as fake, say they were not even aware of the supposed attempt by Mr. Smith. Now, Chef Smith in February began an attempt to break the existing Guinness World Record longest cooking marathon of 119 hours, 57 minutes and 16 seconds, set by Irish Alan Fisher after supposedly cooking for 35 days or 820 hours. Chef Smith symbolically turned off his cooker on the 6th of March 2024. Now, he joined us on GH Today with Lily Mohammed a day later, confident he was going to set a new record. So let's go back, and then on the 7th of March, let's bring you back excerpts of his interview with Lily Mohammed on GH1 television.
My name is Ebenezer Smith.
Okay.
I'm from Ketekrachi.
That's where you get your catchy powers. Some say that you were challenged or you were inspired by Chef Filer. Is that true?
Hidabasi is an inspiration to me.
Okay.
I don't know when any other person submitted the application, but my first application was submitted on June 2nd, 2023.
Okay.
And it was not approved. Then I submitted the second one, November. Usually it takes 12 to 13 weeks for Guinness World Record to get back to you after you apply with the individual application. They also have a premium one, which you get it in the next 3 days. That one is not for individuals, for organizations. So that's it.
You're sure that you follow through the rules? You're sure?
We did.
And you are very hopeful that you're bringing it home to Ghana.
We will.
You will?
Yeah, we will.
I like your confidence. But Chef, are you very confident that, I mean, in spite of all the failures, you will sail through?
Very, very confident, and then the Ghanaians should watch out for victory.
You heard the chef there. On the 7th of March, he says he's very, very confident and that we should be assured of victory. Well, after 2 months of silence, Millennium Chef Smith, in the afternoon of yesterday, Tuesday, July 2, and addressed the press to announce he had been adjudged the current holder, setting a new feat of 802 hours and 25 minutes. Well, listen to excerpts of the press briefing yesterday.
I'm incredibly humbled and honored to stand before you today as the Guinness World Record holder, cooking for 802 hours, 25 seconds. Cooking has always been a very true passion, my calling, and to be recognized as a global scale of my abilities is truly a dream come true. I have spent countless hours in the kitchen, intense pressure, daring sleepless nights, and days filled with uncertainty and doubt. But through it all, there was a glimmer of hope that kept me going. I believe that this dream was within reach, and by virtue of faith, I can proudly say that all that hard work has paid off by God's grace. To the judges of Guinness World Records, thank you for recognizing my accomplishment and giving me this incredible platform to share the heart and soul I put into every dish and every time spent in making them. We did our best to follow the guidelines and pushed our craft for excellence, the excellence we are celebrating today. I am deeply honored and humbled by this achievement. I am Millennium Chef Smith. Guinness World Record holder for the longest cooking marathon.
I love how he ended. I am Millennium Chef Smith, Guinness World Record holder for the longest cooking marathon. So that was it, and we're excited. You know, I was particularly excited when I heard that. But then when I saw the certificate, I was like, looks like this one, ink has gone inside too much. You understand? And then I saw how things were going. Then someone texted me and was like, Charlie, Kodjo, the thing said, it be like it be fake. I said, oh, relax. We'll get into it. And very true to our word, we started digging here at EIB. We started digging. Adam Kodjo started digging. And I'm sure you've seen some people sharing some things and then they are putting their own logos on our logo. But then they forget that there is an Adam Kodjo that is only in EIB and not anywhere else. So when the news broke, Charlie, we saw stuff. And I had my doubts. But this young man seated in front of me also had his own doubts. Adam Kodjo, why were you doubting Millennium Chef Smith when he said that, you know what, forget everything. Guinness World Record holder, here I am. And I'm presenting my certificate to Ghanaians. Why do you put stones in his Gary?
2 reasons.
Right.
One, that's my work. My work is to ensure that everything that goes out is indeed accurate. So that's the first one.
So we had to fact check.
Well, I was just doing my work to fact check. That's one.
Right.
Secondly, and this is even more interesting. So I remember yesterday, and it's a very funny situation. You know, yesterday I was at statistical service on some population issue, and afterwards I had to go and rest because it was my resting day. And then I see messages of someone potentially being announced as a Guinness record. Yet still, for the longest of time, I had not seen any social media post from the organizer of the Guinness World Record.
Right.
Now, and this is what I said someone, that when in November of 2023, in June of 2023, Hilda Bassi was announced as the new record holder of this Guinness World Record. The buzz that hits the account of the Guinness World Record is one that they have never recorded before. When Hilda Bassi's record was also broken by Alan Fisher in October 2023, the buzz even from Ghanaians in terms of saying, okay, you didn't do it for long.
Yes, we had to shade.
Was equally twice as much. So imagine that there's a Ghanaian, the Guinness World Record guys knowing very well, and I don't believe they are oblivious of the banter in the African area or the West African region.
Right.
That's Ghana, Nigeria have this beef, knowing very well the kind of mileage their account could get by just posting that, will decide to keep that under the carpet. So that, for the first time for me, was a red flag. Then also, Joshua, the current record, or the record that Chef Smith said he beat, was 119 minutes.
Yeah. And
Chef Smith says he set a record of 802. Joshua, if you're an organizer and somebody has done close to about 6 or 7 times the current record, will you not be the first to share and celebrate the person?
Maybe they had problems at getting to their account.
So
they couldn't have access to their accounts to post.
All these are valid. So Joshua, these were some of the questions. And so I said, okay, if it is not on their account, then it should be on the website. So I started doing my search, went on the website, and then the website says, okay, currently the record holder is Alan Fisher. But I still wanted to give the benefit of the doubt, because when you open the website as someone who doesn't have an account, it usually tells you that accounts are broken rapidly.
Yeah.
So you would have to have an account before you can see how fast some of these things change.
The records.
Yes, the records change. So Joshua, yesterday I created a Guinness World Record account saying that I wanted to apply to break a record.
Hey, then
in order to be able to know how current the record I chose to or wanted to break would be.
Okay.
So I created the account. And all this, interestingly, was somewhere around 5 p.m. The news of Chef Smith's event occurred between 3:30 p.m. and 4 p.m.
Right.
The news had gone out. I had my skepticism. But Joshua, in this circumstance where everyone is celebrating a hero, who are you to put out whatever you think about, which is at that point, honestly, was mere suspicion,
right,
to say, okay, I don't believe. If it turns out false, it means I basically would have created a lot. Yes, even beyond the hate, it basically means I would have thrown everybody off in celebrating somebody's achievement. So at about 4:50 thereabouts, I finally get a message confirming my account. Then I go in and I go and search. And two things struck me when I went into the website.
Talk to me about that.
The first one indeed said the current holder of the cookathon
by an individual
is Fisher. That's the first one. It is Fisher. Then the second one that even hits me more was that Guinness World Record said that they had to put that record on hold. As in, they had to put applications to break that record on hold. In fact, they are not accepting any new records, any new attempts to break the longest hooking marathon. So then I was like, okay, well, they are not accepting. Are they not accepting because maybe they are reviewing Chef Smith's special record?
800
because
it's more there.
Probably nobody else is able to get close to that.
Exactly.
Or there could be more. So I said, okay, let me now find out where the certificate is. And I remember I said a bit on the platform, which I'll explain later. So I chanced upon a certificate. And on social media, the whole commentary began by saying, oh, the frame of Chef Smith's certificate was black.
Yeah.
Hilda Bassey's own was kind of a gray, silver. And then, remember, not long ago, there was a 1-year-old, the young boy who also won
the painter.
Exactly. He also had a similar certificate. So, what is that with that? So then I decided to start, okay, now maybe this is somewhere I might get something new. So let me start digging into the certificate. The truth of the matter is that the frame of the certificate doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Because when the record comes to you, it is just a plain certificate. You decide whether or not you want to frame
or
it.
Laminate it.
Okay. Or just paste it on your wall with glue. Whatever you do, that is your choice. But then there was something uniquely different about
Chef Smith's
own.
Charlie.
Chef Smith had his font colored black. When I looked at what's her name?
Hilda Bassey's
own. When I looked at Alan Fisher's own, when I looked at the Little Painter's own, all the inscriptions were in blue.
But it could be that they didn't do as much as Chef has done. From 119 to 800, bro.
Yeah, so I decided to start searching. Joshua, I looked through not less than 20 similar records set by people spanning so many years and found out that at no point was the font written in blue. So that's basically just told me. In fact, that was what eventually hit me.
That there's
something wrong. So subsequently, I remember I put out a post that I believe that the certificate is not authentic. And then I said, okay. Then I put it also somewhere else, and then questions started coming through. And then, why do you think so? I was still doing my research, but I said, no, let me try and say this so that we put a hold on whatever is going on and verify further. Then there was a second line of verification. On the certificate, and I don't know if maybe people have seen the certificate. There's a word written on
okay,
top.
so let him put the certificate on social media. If you're on Facebook and in some strange way you have not seen Chef Smith's Guinness World Record certificate.
Yeah, so the certificate is ready.
Go on Facebook now. You see that certificate, and then you can look up Hilda Bassey's own, and then you can see what Adam is talking about. The reasons why he decided, let me take this a notch further and also inquire what is really happening here.
Okay. So the certificate, apart from the font of the writings being black, there's a headline up there called certificate. In fact, it used to be black. But the whole of this year, there's no record that was issued with the writing in black. It had always been blue-black, a very dark shade of blue-black.
Blue, right.
Yeah. So, Josh, that is where I said, okay, no, this thing still doesn't make sense. Then I still went in the game further. And interesting, there were 6 main things I found, and then I came to a realization, and I came to the conclusion that indeed this certificate could not have been valid.
So after seeing all of that,
but Joshua,
you didn't end there.
No, I didn't. Joshua, there were 6 things, and I just want to list all the 6, the 6 of them for you. So I've given you 2.
So you see, and there's a reason why we are doing this, because I've seen some people also go to ask Guinness. Guinness, hey, is it the case that Millennium Chef did qualify, and Guinness will send an answer and say no? But these are reasons why we did that and asked Guinness World Records, based on this, and that. Did you issue the certificate?
Okay. Now, I don't know if Iman has put it here, but this is very critical. If you see this, you understand.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the certificate that I said is plain. And usually, the certificate that is issued just has one border around it. So you have the writings in there, and about a few inches out of the writings, there is a borderline.
Mm-hmm.
Chef Smith had 2 borderlines, 2 outer borderlines. And I said, okay, Adam, this is that. Shortly after, I said, okay, now you have looked at the outlook. Let's try and analyze the text.
Right.
And I also found very interesting things in there.
So for those on Facebook, the certificate is there, Chef Smith's own.
Yeah.
Yeah, with a huge frame. Yeah. It's there on your screens right there. Okay. And this is the certificate that Adam analyzed and was like, no, Charlie, something is not right here. Adam, continue.
Okay. So when I looked at this certificate, when it comes to the text, now the unit of measurement on official certificates is always abbreviated.
Yes. If it's hours, it's HRS.
Hours, it's HR.
If it's minutes,
it's MINS. If it's meters, M. If it's feet, FT. If it is inches, IN.
And this
now,
if you
read
certificate 101.
Yeah, Joshua, can you read what was on? How can you help me with what was on Chef Smith certificate?
Oh, okay. So let me quickly. Charlie, the team is on way. The thing is on way. Let me quickly fetch that Chef Smith's certificate.
Okay.
Because I remember when we were even talking about it. Now, when I posted on my status, people started coming at me and be like, "Hey, Ghana people, this is how you are. Small enjoyment. Someone has talked. Okay, so it is here. Certificate underlined.
Yeah.
The longest cooking marathon into bracket individual is 208 hours.
802.
Yes. HOURS. 25 minutes. MINUTES. And was achieved by Ebenezer Smith into brackets Ghanaian in Spintex, comma Accra, comma Ghana from 1 February to 6 March 2024. And then officially amazing is at the bottom part of it.
So, Josh, his has hours spelled in
minutes.
Full.
Yes.
Minutes in full.
Right.
I really wish I could just send you one from Alan Fisher. I'm trying to get that for you. But yes, basically that's what I saw. And then my heart skipped another beat and said, okay, this cannot be it. But that was not all I found, Joshua. Then, you remember you read something that Chef Smith says, okay, you read achieved by Ebenezer Smith into brackets Ghanaian.
Yes.
Guinness World Record never puts your nationality. It puts your country.
Okay.
So it should have read Ebenezer Smith into brackets Ghana.
I'm seeing one here, and for those of you who are watching on Facebook, this is the one I'm talking about. An old woman, the largest genome for any organism using flow cytometry, blah, blah, blah. Institut Botanique de Barcelona into brackets Spain, and Royal Botanic Gardens into brackets UK. So it is the country that the person is from, not necessarily the nationality of the person in question.
Exactly. So that was another thing that was also a red flag. And then the final red flag, and I would need this because I just said, okay, now let me compare between Hilda Bassi, Alan Fisher certificate, and then Chef, what's his name? Chef Smith.
Millennium
Chef Smith certificate.
That's right.
And then when I did that, this is what I saw. In the last sentence, there's usually, so I'll have you to read one last time, and then just read one last time, and I'll stop you at a particular point.
Okay. you. The minute I left Chef Smith now, you've taken me back.
I'm taking you back.
All right. So it says The longest cooking marathon, into brackets individual, is 802 hours, 25 minutes, and was achieved by Ebenezer Smith, into brackets Ghanaian, in Spintex, Accra, Ghana, from 1 February.
No, hold.
Okay.
Ebenezer Smith in Spintex, Accra, Ghana. What follows there?
From.
No.
Okay,
before
full
the
stop.
from.
There's a full stop.
There's
there.
a full stop there.
And then
there's
it's
a
capital
new
sentence.
That starts from.
Okay.
No, that is wrong. That alone is wrong grammar.
According to.
It would have been a comma. And when you look at Alan Fisher's certificate, when you look at Hilda Bass's certificate, it's a comma there with a small f
And not a capital.
and not a capital F and a full stop. So after seeing this, I remember I said that I had no doubt in my mind that this was so. But the next thing was, yes, I'm not Guinness World Record. So what then do we do?
How do you authenticate?
How do I authenticate? So yesterday I went fishing for websites, for email addresses.
Yeah.
In fact, I'll say it on record here. I sent mails to 4 different. I sent a mail to 4 different emails.
Okay.
Because people just suggesting, oh, Adam, send here. Big thanks to my news editors who also went to the archives and brought out here. So I sent 4 mails. And everybody was like, oh, Adam, when is the feedback going to come? And most of this happened after 6 p.m. I said, okay, it's after work hours. So let us rest. Work starts at 8:30 in the morning. So in the morning when we wake up, we would find out.
Right.
Joshua, lo and behold, at 8:32 a.m. this morning, 8:32 a.m.
So wait. Before you come to that, what was contained in the mail that you sent?
Okay, so I'm going to open my email.
What are you asking?
Okay, so this is all I asked, and the mail reads: Hi, my name is Adam Kodjo, a journalist from Accra with the AIB network. We just saw pictures of Ebenezer Smith as a new record holder of the longest cooking marathon individual. We have, however, not seen any such post on your social media platforms and website, and we want to confirm the authenticity of this certificate attached. So that's all I wrote, and
so
then I
sent them
a picture of
the certificate.
Mr.
Smith certificate.
Yes, of that I have done my analysis, and it was sent at 6:30 p.m. yesterday.
Right.
Well, today at 8:32 a.m., this is the response I got from. And this is the response I got. Hi, Adam. Thank you for your message. No, comma. This is not true at all. Full stop. He does not, and it's interesting that the note was put in red.
In red.
He
Emphasis.
does not hold the GWR title, and that is not our certificate. The current and true record holder is Alan. Sorry.
Yeah.
Then they put a semicolon and repeat what's on the guy's certificate. The longest cooking marathon, into bracket individual, is 119 HR hours, 57 MIN minutes, 16 SEC second, and was achieved by Alan Fisher, into bracket Ireland, in Matsui, Shimane, Japan, from 28 September to 3rd October 2023, full stop.
Right.
And this was from Madeline Billfield, PR manager, Guinness World Record Limited. So, Joshua, so this is what we saw this morning. And that is why it went.
And it's on our Facebook page now. You can go on Facebook. It's there. That receipt of mail that Adam Kodjo got from the Guinness World Record. And that's there on the Facebook page, quickly.
But Joshua, there's more.
Yeah.
Do you know why?
Because, I mean, after this, we were very confident now that, you know what, Chef Smith peddled falsehood to us, because it was like, you didn't register for an exam. We see you writing something like the exam, then you come out and declare the results to us when indeed the examiner has not given any form of results. And so we put it out there that, well, it cannot be true. Guinness World Records, this is what they are saying, that the certificate is not theirs. So the question now is, Chef Smith, where did you print your certificate? Who issued that certificate? You know, and that's the question now we are asking. And okay, so you know what? Let's bring you. Okay, right. So after this, we were confident, but it looks like the confidence level has to shoot up because of something else. Adam.
Yeah. So Joshua, I think we did our work actually went out and people saw the email that we were able, because I told you I sent mails to four and I just got one reply. It's possible that we're not probably the only people who had. But thankfully,
after the time we sent it, we were the only people.
Okay.
Yes, but afterwards,
but I'm just saying that yes.
The rest decided to continue.
Well, we basically, by virtue of what we put out, people saw an email that could give them an urgent reply. And I would like to just take this from a colleague from Graphic, and I want to acknowledge what he sent and their feedback. Now, the question now is, okay, we knew that Chef Smith's certificate was not true, but did he even go through the process in the first place?
Right.
So, Kweku, a journalist, Kweku Zurek, a journalist at Graphic, sent a mail and then got the following feedback based on that. So, he sent seeking confirmation, and there were 4 questions in all. And I've sent that information to you, and so those who also want to follow can see. The first one is, was the Guinness World Records aware of his attempt? In fact, so he actually sent a question. The second question is, has Chef Smith's application for that attempt been received or assessed? The third one, who currently holds the record? And then finally, Chef Smith showed a certificate from your outfit claiming he had been recognized with the award. Would the Guinness record take any legal measures against Chef Smith? Those are the questions. Now, this is the answer that Guinness record. For who was the record, we've already made it clear. So I will not go to that. Yes. Right. Was the Guinness World Record aware of this attempt? The answer in red is no. We were not aware. Has his application been received or assessed? We have not received an application from him for this attempt.
And it's quite interesting, because if you listen to the interview he had with Lily Mohammed, he mentioned that he put in
a request first in June 2023,
and that request was rejected.
And he put in
another one. But he
didn't give timelines. He only said he put in and tried to explain the difference between the individual and the company and the understanding of the principle.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, Josh, this in effect is the summary of whatever has happened in the past 24 hours.
Chef Smith.
Well, the certificate Guinness World Record says it's not from them. But even more interesting, they say they have neither received nor assessed or are aware of any attempts
by Chef
Smith to set the longest cooking marathon.
All right, so the 802 hours, no, Charlie. You see, sometimes you can be working very hard, though. You can work very, very hard, but it depends on what exactly you are doing, and then whether you are working within the remits of the requirements of the job that you're doing. Well, so Adam, Kodjo, thank you so much. So what we do know now is that, yes, indeed, Guinness is not aware of the certificate that Chef Smith showed to the entire Ghana. And I've seen a lot of you being very creative with words on what Chef Smith has done to us, whether he's cooked us, whether the pan and all of that. I see all of that. And now, even Guinness World Records is telling us that they have not received anything from Chef Smith, saying that he wants to break any record at all. Well, let me leave Chef Smith alone and bring you to Parliament, because a lot of things are happening in our Parliament, where Majority Leader Alexander Kwabena Apenyo-Markin has cautioned the political class to be wary of recent youth uprisings in the African continent. Now, days after the youth of Kenya poured out on the streets against the introduction of some taxes, leading to the torching of parliament, Tanzanians have followed suit. Now, the Kenyan riot left 5 Ghanaian MPs who had visited the parliament of that country stranded. Addressing the developments in a statement on the floor, Majority Leader Alexander Apenyo-Markin implored the political class to work together in taking proactive steps in addressing underlying causes of public discontent. Listen to him.
At undermining opponent and fostering national progress. While the political elite focuses on electoral battles and building political capital, a significant portion of the population, including the youth, is being left behind. Consequently, the demographic potential of our youth, often praised as a critical driver of development, remains largely untapped. Entrepreneurship and employment opportunities are scarce, And even those few opportunities face challenges. Our artisans, often criticized for their work attitudes, are losing jobs in the construction sector to artisans from neighboring countries, even for basic tasks we once took for granted. The potential for entrepreneurship is further diminished as people increasingly prefer to invest in the money market, deterred by the prevailing work attitudes from setting up businesses. Mr. Speaker, the government has significantly addressed these challenges through social intervention programs. However, these initiatives alone, without the united support of the political class, may fall short of delivering the comprehensive result needed, resulting in the counterproductive outcomes to our reasonable gains over the years. The consequences may be dire for our stability. Throughout history, frustrations and disillusionment among the masses, including the youth, have led to significant social and political unrest. The recent Gen Z activism in Kenya serves as a striking warning. To prevent such scenarios in Ghana, it is imperative that the political class collaboratively take proactive and comprehensive measures to address underlying causes of public discontent. Our preoccupation with political maneuvering should not blind us to the reality of public expectations. Let us all recommit to a national agenda that not only leverages the potential of our youth, but also unlocks the massive development potential often associated with the demographic dividend.
Majority Leader Alexander Penyo Markin. Now, Member of Parliament for Tamale South, Haruna Idrisu and his part charged the government to take steps to avoid a Kenya-like situation in Ghana.
We all know it, an economic crisis, because this House slept and allowed government to overborrow and plunge this country into an unsustainable debt crisis. The Ghanaian citizens cannot be happy about it. This is not what they expect us to do. The Speaker today, cleverly, you accepted even a comment on cement. Yes, we are playing the devil's advocate because we didn't want the public to see that is Ghana's parliament sitting aloof, unconcerned about us when prices of cement are being dictated. So at least you gave MPs an opportunity to ventilate where you stand on this matter. But Mr. Speaker, I think that I should commend the leader. By himself, you yourself, you must provide leadership. Leadership not just, leadership not just on the floor here, but outside parliament. If I repeat it, I would have betrayed the proverb my mother shared with me. Mr. Speaker, how on earth could the leader be discussing a matter of MP's car loans in the media when you spoke about tax exemptions and the huge sums of money MPs spent? I wasn't happy, but as I said, I'm trying to avoid it. I'm just saying we should know what we put out. Don't worry, that's why I'm speaking at a low tone. I'll share with you on low tone. But you will remember. So leadership, provide leadership, not just on the floor, but lead us. Then, Mr. Speaker, consultation. There are those who think that compromise in politics is a weak model. It has never been weak. In every democracy, there are compromises, whether in the House of Commons, House of Lords, in Congress, in every parliament. There are negotiations in every parliament. So, Mr. Speaker, brilliant comment, good timing. Unemployment remains a major crisis in our country. This parliament must be seen supporting initiatives and policies to deal with unemployment. That should go beyond our partisan differences. Then recruitment. But Mr. Speaker, Ghana has a problem, and maybe we should say it. I think, and I see First Deputy Speaker.
You heard Haruna Idrisu. He is Member of Parliament for Tamale South. Now, the Ministry of Communications and Digitalization has assured that it will collaborate with stakeholders in ensuring improved data protection. The 30 million expanded facility by Per Data Center offers state-of-the-art facilities and services to meet the evolving needs of businesses across Africa with a focus on reliability, scalability, and security. PEC's data centers enable organizations to harness the power of technology and drive digital transformation. Speaking at the launch of the facilities here in Accra, Deputy Minister for Communications and Digitalization, Charles Echampong, charged persons living with disability to express interest in ICT to help create sustainable jobs for them.
I am informed that this data center meets the highest of security standards. We have been pushing for data localization and secure storage on the continent to ensure the sovereignty and control of our own data. One of the major threats to the realization of the full potential of data is data security. We want to encourage the management of this data center to be conscious of the physical and virtual security of the facility, to be able to win the confidence and trust of your clients. Additional, ensure that you adhere to all tenants of the Data Protection Act. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we are committed to a cross-sectional approach to development and enhance collaboration with the private sector to aid rapid digital transformation. The government of Ghana continues to work towards the creation of a fair regulatory environment and stability for the industry to thrive. One of the areas we are passionate about is supporting our local tech start ecosystem, nurturing and development of indigenous technology, encouraging women, children, and persons with disability to engage in ICT. The expansion of Parks Data Center in Ghana is crucial to create the capacity for more people from all backgrounds.
Now, Managing Director of PAG's Data Center, Bright Isiamatiria, speaking to Starr News, said the expanded facility will help bridge infrastructural gap in information technology.
$30 million, that's what we've used to do this expansion. It's in a lot of money, and that investment coming to Ghana, you know how seriousness the whole data center business has become. Okay, so when you come to our data center, we have upstream providers. The upstream providers, some, come with, they come from the fiber cuts. Some come from there. Others also have some redundancy, and they don't come straight with them. They're undersea cables. So those who don't come straight with them, they also pass through other countries. We have them in our data center. So when these fiber cuts, happened, and then we had a blackout, those who had connectivity or who had a capacity working were able to sell to people to still make business. And secondly, there is an innovation in PAX we call something the internet exchange. It's a form of redundancy to the the internet. So when the internet went off, for instance, when you have the banks who are using apps, you have ECG that people are using the apps to buy, power. With the exchange connected, we have the MNOs, mobile network operators, also connected to the exchange. And then we are able to talk to them that, look, help Ghana, let us zero rate the apps for users so that you can still do your business with or without internet, right? So it is sitting right in our data center there. And these are some of the things that we have done to, help the Ghanaian economy to still see that business goes on when we have internet blackouts.
You heard Managing Director of PAG's Data Center, Bright Isiamatiria, speaking to Starr News there. Now, let's do some other stories this evening. And let me take you to Kumasi, because persons with disability have a 20% chance of finding jobs, leaving 1 in 3 multidimensionally poor. Now, a majority of persons with disability further face significant challenges acquiring education. Frederick Ajay, a physically challenged person who sells slippers to fund his return to school, is confronted with these 2 hurdles. The perils he goes through on a daily basis further betrays how unfriendly Ghana's roads are for persons with disability, as well as the lack of support for such persons. 18 years after the passing of the PW Act, Ivan Heathcote Fumador puts the spotlight on how Frederick hawks at the KGTR market and the difficulties he faces combining his hustle with an ambition to make it to the university.
I will know 17. Now maybe I beg 20.
27-year-old Frederick Ajay, a trader who hawks ladies' slippers at the KGTR market, became paralyzed at the age of 8 as a result of polio.
Polio and money by 8 years. And I mean, yes, I am 90 to 8 years and son.
He lost his only support when his mother, a single parent, took ill while he was in junior high school. At a tender age, Frederick had to work as a farmhand. to see himself through school.
I had to work either in a maize farm or a palm plantation. While others went on vacation, I went hustling for my fees.
In final year senior high school, he was forced to drop out, unable to keep up with fees, disqualifying him from writing his final exam.
At the time, SHS was not free. My fees piled up, so I had to drop out.
His next chapter of survival has not been any less burdensome. Frederick relocated from his hometown of Kokrantumi in the Eastern region to the Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi, to begin street hawking in a wheelchair.
I used to sell at Tech and slept under the bridge.
From his home in Afonkwanta, he pushes himself through major roads to the Babayara Sports Stadium where he parks his trading cart. The ride is perilous and paints a picture of how inaccessible our roads are to persons with disability. Unable to use the pedestrian walkways riddled with gutters and parked vehicles, he rides dangerously, competing with cars on the main road.
Our quest today was to find out how Frederick goes about his economic activities and the challenges he's facing raising enough money even to attend school and to fend for himself. But it appears that the issue to do with mobility of persons with disabilities on our roads and how accessible our roads are to persons with disability appears very glaring.
It's not easy. The cars expect that you use the pavement. But there are gutters and some metal railings. You can't use the wheelchair. You just have to face the cars. Oh, that side. To avoid getting stuck, I use that scary bridge.
Incredible. He says his wheelchair can sometimes get stuck. A wheelchair in a meet him.
At times, the front wheels get stuck. Someone has to help me get out.
So we are somewhere at the back of the Babayara Sports Stadium. So this is where he changes from his usual wheelchair to his customized trading cart. So he still has a place to sit. It is fitted with a paddle for him to ride with his hands. And fitted to this wheelchair is a metal cart that has been welded into the wheelchair. It provides a space to serve as a showcase for him to display the slippers which he sells. From selling ladies' purses, he saved enough to buy himself this hand-powered wheelchair fitted with a cart. Clearly exhausted, Frederick tells me this is just a transit.
There are more challenges ahead. One day, the cart broke off. All of my things scattered to the ground.
Frederick heads off again into the road on his way to the bustling Central Business District. At this point, I can only wonder how he's going to navigate his way around the very busy junctions, the confusing road intersections, and roundabouts which takes experienced drivers a great deal of care to pass. Frederick virtually vanishes into a sea of coaches, buses, cars and tricycles, much bigger than a small cart, when he enters the busy Asafo bus terminal enclave. The slightest mistake or miscalculation could be fatal. Junctions leading to the Central Business District require his highest attention. Hawkers, passers-by and shoppers sharing the same road with cars and tricycles gets thicker as he rides along into the CBD. Frederick tells me he has no other option than take this life-threatening commute daily to make a living.
I
get sad sometimes. Without disability, there are many things you can do to survive. But this is all I can do. It is sad and there is no support.
When you hear of probability, what comes to mind? On a general term, what comes to mind?
Even in the midst of this despair, Frederick has enrolled in school to accomplish his educational aspirations of entering the university. The Joy Standard School, where he now studies, has relocated the general arts class downstairs to accommodate him. Its director, Regina Amadonko, describes Frederick as a shining inspiration of resilience and determination.
When you see his condition and he's still pursuing to learn or to get a certificate or get a brighter future, it's an inspiration to others, because when I see him struggling through the staircase and others, and I see people who don't have any disability and they are just playing about, I really talk to them that look at this guy, you see what he's going through, he's still determined to get something. So it's a form of inspiration to others.
In just 2 months, Frederick will be sitting the West Africa Senior School Certificate examination, but his economic woes continue to haunt him. He has to skip school on Thursdays, Fridays and Saturdays to do his hustle.
If I don't work, I cannot afford transportation to school. So on Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, I go to sell. I wish I were in school all week.
At the Kejetia market, he makes a margin of 3 cedis for every pair of slippers he sells. After raising 2,500 to register for his examinations, he fears he will be rendered homeless at the end of July when his next rent payment is due.
My rent is due, but I used all I saved to register for the exams. If I'm kicked out, my studies and my peace of mind is in limbo. I need 3,600 cedis to renew for 2 years.
Regardless, Frederick is on a noble mission to empower other persons with disability to stop begging on the roadsides for a living. He has already introduced 2 persons with physical challenges to his kind of trade and wants government to provide such persons capital and designated spaces to sell their merchandise.
Show me 2 persons with disability are now working. One of them had become a burden to his family. I'm looking for ways to help another beggar. We need money to do more. We also need spaces to sell.
The Persons with Disability Act 715, passed by Parliament in the year 2006, enjoins government to make education free for all persons with disability. If the act were functional, instead of going for these slippers on credit to sell, government should be giving Frederick capital to enhance his trade. Aside these local obligations, the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 8 compels the Ghanaian government to promote inclusive and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment and decent work for all men and women, including persons with disability, with none of these legal and policy aspirations yielding any benefits to Frederick Ejay. It will take the magnanimity of kind-hearted individuals and institutions to lend a helping hand to offer Frederick a decent place of accommodation to lay his head, support his trade, or sponsor his education. For Star News, my name is Ivan Heathcote Fumado, Ultimate FM, Kumasi.
Right, so Ivan Heathcote Fumador with another classic one right there. And so for those of you who would like to support Frederick, just get in touch and let's make sure that we support those who are also putting themselves out there to do something beyond their disabilities. And definitely, to bring you sports now, we have Benjamin Yamwa. Bengazi, what's happening in sports this evening?
Well, I mean, as always, on that Ivan Heathcote Fumador note, I'll give you some sporting news. Okay, so the Ghana Football Association, the GFA, has officially launched a partnership with Multi-Pack, producers of 5-Star Energy Drink, as its new sponsor at the ceremony held today at the association's secretariat. Now, the 4-year partnership deal will see Multi-Pack supply energy drinks to all the national teams under the GFA. Speaking at the ceremony, President of the GFA, Kodjo Mensah, emphasized on the significance of this partnership between the GFA and Multi-Pack.
Down the line, we are here witnessing an amazing partnership between 5-Star and a football association that is yearning to reach our 5th World Cup and to win our 5th AFCON title. Because on the day that we are outdooring this partnership, the 5-Star Energy Drink, it obviously coincides with the times that we are yearning and working towards our 5th World Cup appearance and our 5th AFCON trophy. And I believe that this is the signal for good times. I believe this energy drink will push our adrenaline levels to the right levels that we need for the final push, either at the AFCON level or at the Mundial, the World Cup level.
Kurt Okreku is the president of the GFA. Still on the local front, and Samatex starman Emmanuel Kayeke insists his future will largely be dependent on his club FC Samatex when the right offer does come from other clubs. 26-year-old who won the Home Base Footballer of the Year award at the recently held Ghana Football Awards after a stellar performance in the just ended GPL season. Speaking to GH1 TV, commended Samatex and car staff for their trust and playing time in the team last season.
If you keenly followed my progress at Asante Kotoko, it was the first season was a whole lot of injuries. But the second season, I had the preseason and a new coach came and he didn't give me the much needed attention. Yeah, but with Samatex, you know, football is about playing time. I put in the work, and the coaches, the technical team, they also trusted in me and they gave me the opportunity to showcase my talent, and we are here today. It depends on the offer that comes. Maybe if an offer comes with $1 million, I don't think Samatex will reject it. So it depends on the offer that comes. Yeah.
And that's Samatex star Emmanuel Kayeke. And to end it, let's do some tennis news. Now, where defending champion Carlos Alcaraz entertained fans on court 1 with a stunning second-round victory over Australia's Alexander Vukic. Now, the pair played out a thrilling opening set before the Spaniard took control and wrapped up a 7-6, 6-2, 6-2 victory. Alcaraz is attempting to win back-to-back major titles after triumphing at the French Open last month. And meanwhile, Coco Golf in the women's division stormed past Romanian qualifier Anca Tordoni to move into the third round of Wimbledon. The second seed entertained the crowd under the roof on court 1 with big hitting to earn a 6-2, 6-1 victory in 66 minutes. Now Golf will play British qualifier Sona Cartel, who claimed the biggest win of her career, with victory over Frances Clara Borel later on today. A second convincing win this week marks progress for the American Golf at SW19 after a surprise exit in the first round in last year's championship. And that should be it for our sports.
Many thanks, Benjamin Yama, for bringing us the sports. And that's how we draw the curtains on Star today here on Star 103.5 FM. There's more news for you at starfm.com.gh. I am Joshua Kodjo Mensah. Focus on Africa from the BBC is up at 6:30. Stay with us.